Okay, good afternoon. खाना हुआ नहीं क्या? Good afternoon. Okay, so I'm going to share a story with you. Okay, the story is about a customer who came to us, who is actually a digital transformation head. He's at one of the biggest organization, and his KRA is to transform the organization digitally and improve the efficiency in the organization and improve the customer experience and the employee experience. Okay, so he came to us as IRO and he discussed his requirement with us. Okay, so his requirement is basically he want to build a cab booking or management platform. That platform has different features where employee can raise a booking request to book a cab. That request will go to the admin department, and admin department will have some web interface where they want to build admin dashboard, booking requests, management, vehicle management, and there are different features which they wanted to build in this platform. Okay, so like in any story there is a hero. So in our story as well there are two heroes. So these are I and O. So you are seeing I and O everywhere in our organization on every wall. So I and O are basically the two consultants of I or O. In a way, every one of us is I and O, right? So we discuss with customer, we understand their problem and empathize with them. We apply solve their problems and keep customer at the center and want to deliver better experience, right? So in our story as well, these I and O are the heroes. And whenever this customer came to us, one of the consultant who is I has done a meeting with him and has discussed his requirement. So I is Shashwat, so he has already done a meeting with customer and customer has discussed his requirement with him. So he will tell us about what exactly he did for this requirement.
So hello everyone. So I the consultant, the one you can see on the screen. So recently I had this meeting with this customer. So he wanted a software solution that can solve all the cab booking related pain points for him, so that his employees can enjoy seamless cab booking experience and services, and the admin can manage everything in the software. So I went to their office and I spent some time trying to understand his requirements. And then after few hours of elicitation and discussions, I basically finally put everything down on a paper in a requirements document. And then I came back to the office. Then I called a meeting with my team where basically I prepared the implementation plan and delegated the tasks to the respective teams. So my team has done a great job over the last week. So while the requirements gathering was done by me, my team took care of the architecture, the backend was also implemented, and the design was also done. So please allow me to show you the Figma file for this. So the entire UI for this requirement can be broken down into 7 screens or 7 features basically. So we'll start with the dashboard. So the dashboard you are seeing in the screen is the admin dashboard. So the admin can use this to basically monitor the KPIs and administrate everything in the vehicle management system. So you see everything nice and easy. And then coming to the trips screen, everything related to trips is visible in this screen. So where the pickup location was, where the drop location was, who requested the cab and who was the driver, which vehicle, every detail is visible here. Then coming to the booking requests page, again you can see the total number of requests that were raised, how many got accepted, how many got rejected, and basically everything that is there in the booking request. And you see a form is also there, so you can also add requests. Now I will just basically walk you through the other screen. So there is a driver's screen where driver management is there, all the details about driver including his license and all the documents. Then we have a vehicles page, and similarly for complaints management, and challans are basically the traffic rule violation stuff. So we have a database here so they can track. Now since the backend is also done, I would like to show you the Swagger API documentation for this. So just briefly. And we also borrowed some of the reusable assets from the design team. So here we have all the components that we will use. So while all the things are done, only the front end part is remaining, right? So only front end part is remaining right now. So like any front end development process has many stages, like you can see in the screen. So firstly you have to understand the Figma design, then you have to identify widgets, then creating the app boilerplate takes a lot of time, then you have to create widgets, then you have to configure pages and forms, and then you have to do the navigation setup work like icons and stuff, and then end with the integration. So to my knowledge, all these things take a lot of time. So since we have a lot of front-end developers here, I would like to ask you guys, what is the average time that it will take for you guys to implement this? So you have already seen the requirements, you have seen the Figma prototype. So like you can give either stage-wise or just a day estimate for entire this. So anyone?
1 month. 1 month
1 month, okay.
for all pages.
Yeah. Anyone else? So I'm sure your answer is like same as her, similar to her, right? So we asked the same question to the front-end developers in our team. So let's take the average of her response and also what we have asked our team. So that comes around 18 to 26 days. So to implement this front end, it will take us close to 18 to 26 days. But again, the problem here is that I have already committed to my customer that I will deliver the app by end of the day today. Now I know what you guys are wondering, that what was I on? Like why did I keep this such stringent deadline or timeline? So I have explanation for that. So being a contributor into the platform team, I knew the capabilities of IOCraft. So IOCraft is basically a front-end development accelerator that uses reusable assets and low-code interface to basically accelerate this entire process which you are seeing. So the process is same, but what we do at IOCraft is we automate. So you can see the prior 5 stages have been fully automated using IOCraft, and the remaining 2, which is the navigation setup part and the API integration, that is again accelerated through the low-code interface. So now I would like to move the spotlight to our developer O. So he will help us build this live in front of everyone using IOCraft within 45 minutes, so that I can keep my commitments and everyone can see the capabilities of IOCraft. So over to you.
Thank you, Shashwat. So first we'll start with Figma. So you have already seen the Figma application. So now I want to showcase the 3 main part of this session. So first one will be... Yes. Okay. So I am going to share the 3 main part of this session. First one will be the Figma, in which we are going to export these pages and the components, forms, and second part will be the studio itself. So all the exported pages and the forms will be shown inside this studio application. So this contains the 2 micro frontend. First one will be the page renderer and second one will be the form renderer, in which we are going to configure the APIs, add the navigation, all this part will be done here. And third one will be the container application. So this will be the container application. When you click on this preview button, you are able to see the container application, which will be the outcome will be shown inside this container or preview application. So first part will be the exporting. So I'll start with that. I'll just go to the Figma. So this is the Figma application we have already seen. I'll just go to the plugin, then development, and I'll import that IOCraft plugin. So I'll just click on open. Now you are able to see the IOCraft plugin over here. Just I need to click on this. Now you are able to see the pop-up for IOCraft plugin. So this contains the three buttons: theme, widget, and project. I'll briefly introduce these three buttons to you. So themes means you can export the color combination, typography, all for the front end in the one click. If you want, you can export the individual page as well using the widget button. But right now I want to export all the pages and forms at once. So I'll choose the third option. So these contain the two text field in which we are going to provide the configuration related to that project. So if we need the project ID for that and the bearer token. So if you want to project ID, you can get it from the URL or the query param of Studio. And the token you can get while inspecting that particular section, and you can get it from the header of the API configuration. I have already copied that both things, so it will be easy for me. So I just paste it here. Okay, then I'll take the token and I'll paste inside the second text field. I'll click on the confirm. Now you are able to see the export has been started. Meanwhile, during this time period, we are going to take a look at the container application. So this is the by default login theme for the container application. If you want, you can change it as well. You can add the single sign-on, you can change the background, and you can add logo. All these things are configurable. So I'll sign in. So I am signing for the first time. So it will show us the change password option. So I'll change the password. Okay. Meantime we'll check. We are almost done with the export. So all the pages. Okay. So we are done with the export. So all the pages and forms has been exported already. I just need to go to the studio and I'll hit on the refresh button. So we'll just wait to refresh these particular pages. Okay, now our container app is getting loaded. So I'll first showcase how it looks like before we are integrating all of these. So this is the container application. It is completely blank and white screen right now. So we are going to do all the integration inside that. So we'll wait to load the studio and I'll showcase you the pages we have just exported and the forms. Okay. So this is the pages. Just we have exported all the pages within a 1 or 2 minutes. I'll just open one of these. I'll just demonstrate the exact same replica of the Figma page. So this is the dashboard we have just seen in the Figma. So I'll showcase that. It contains the 4 stat card, then donut chart, then pie chart, line chart. Okay. So this is the exact replica of that. The height and width, the XY coordinate also has been exported properly. So likewise, we have the multiple pages as we see. Now first part we are going to do in this, we are going to add the navigation. So we are able to navigate through the pages and we can attach the pages to those icons. So we'll start with that part. For that we have the another micro front end inside this. Meanwhile, I'll just show the forms as well. As we mentioned that the forms also been exported. So I'll showcase that as well. So this is the forms. We have exported all the forms which are mentioned in the Figma with the type and the key value as well. So no need to change over there. Also if you want, you can preview this as well. So we'll start with that one. Okay. Now we'll start with the navigation part. Okay. So I'll just go to the feature section. There is a micro front end in which we are going to navigate, add the navigation names and the icons and the configuration to connect the pages. So I'll just go to the confidence. Here is the application. The SAS was already collected and gathered data over here. So I'll just add those navigation names over here. So I have kept the name same as the page name, so it will be get easy for me to map those pages to those navigation name. If you want, you can change the navigation name as well. And in the runtime, if you have to change the page configuration icon for the navigation, so you can do that as well while runtime. So I'll just add the last one. Okay, now we are done with the navigation part. So I'm going to attach the icon that will be shown inside this white screen. Okay, and I'm going to attach the page. So I'll just select that navigation. So this is dashboard has been selected, and you are able to see two drop down over here. First one will be the icon which we want to showcase, and second one will be the page you want to connect to that navigation. So I have carried out the icon name as well. So I'll just paste it here, select, and I'll attach the dashboard page for that. So likewise, I'll do the same for the remaining pages as well. For the trip, I'm going to attach the page, I'm going to attach the icon. Then for the booking request, okay. Once I'll done with this, I'll showcase you how it look before API integration inside the container application as well. So
this has a configurable theme as well. So as right now you are seeing this is a black theme in the studio, but the actual application which is being created out of this has a white theme which is a default. But that theme can also be configurable using the DSM.
okay. We are at the last one right now. I'll just paste the icon, select the components one, click on the save, and last one will be the challan one. So I'll just paste the icon and select the page. Okay. Now we are done with the navigation part as well. So I'll just go inside the container. I'll hit on the refresh button. So we'll just wait to refresh this container application. So how it will be look like inside the container, I'll showcase that. So this is the theme. Right now the page we are going to attach inside the container. So it is the black screen for the studio, but inside the container app, it is by default white theme. So you are going to see this 3 stat card and the table inside the white screen. Okay, and right now we don't have attached any APIs and anything, so it will be look completely blank or empty over there. So we'll just wait to load. Now it is getting loaded. Okay, now you are able to see the icons I have just configured inside the studio application. So these are the icon I have just added, and this is the page I have attached for the dashboard. Likewise, you can see the multiple pages I have attached to each and every navigation sidebar. So this is the booking request one. So right now you are able to see there are no configuration API or data configuration for this. So I'll start with that part also. So first we'll start with the booking request one, and I'll start the API integration for that. So I'll go here. I have carried out the APIs for this particular booking request. So I'll just explain the configuration for the widget. So once you click on the edit button, you are able to see the 3 tabs over here: basic detail, API configuration, and actions one. So basic detail means the configuration which is not coming from the API itself. So user can add that particular configuration statically. So I am going to add the title which I want to showcase over here, what icon I want to showcase inside these, and the color. This configuration is the basic detail. So it's don't require any API configuration for that. So I'll just select the icon and I'll select the Xcode for that particular icon selected. So second tab we have the API configuration. Inside this you are able to see the mini postman UI. This contains the header, then endpoint, all the configuration like a postman. So I'll just take the curl for this particular API and I'll paste it here and upload. Okay. So we are done with the API integration, and if you want you can test it as well, so you are able to see the response of this particular API. So I'll go back, and then we have the mapper function. So as a front-end developer, you know that every front-end has the interface, predefined interface. So this component assume that it will get that response in that particular format. So you know that each API can have the different responses. So how we are going to convert that? For that we are using this mapper function. It is a plain JavaScript function. Every developer can write it. So we are just converting that above API response into the particular format. So this particular widget can consume that. So it is converted. You can test it as well, and then I'll click on the save. So Meanwhile, I'll do the same configuration for the remaining stat card as well. Just wait to load this.
So the internet definitely slowed us down, but we are back. So Motiram will
We'll
take this
start
over.
timer again and we'll start with the integration. So we have right now the less time, as you can see. We'll try to build it out in that time period. So we'll start with the integration. So I have also shown you the basic detail what it for. I'll just add the color combination and the API configuration. So I'll add the curve. Okay. I'll upload these. I'll just click on the save and export function. I'll click on the save. Okay, for the second card also I'm going to add those configuration. So I'll add the title. I'll add the icon for the check. Then I'll add the color combination as well, the hex code. Then API integration for this as well. And then the mapper function. Okay. The third card is for the total pending one. So pending request or pending booking request will be shown inside this. So we'll select the hex code, then will be the icon for the alarm. Okay. Then I'm going to add the API configuration for this as well. Okay. And then the mapper function which will convert that data. Okay. So we are done with the card. So now I'll start with the table integration. So I'll just go here, add the table title. So booking requests. Okay. Inside the API configuration, I'll add the API configuration and the mapper. Now you are able to see that this is the different mapper as we've seen before. So this mapper contains the keys. What will be the type of that key, avatar, chip or text field. Then we have the header titles as well, and then we have the original data, which is the data user can download, so you can manipulate that data from here as well. So I'll just click on the save. Okay, now you are able to see the data has been mapped. I'll just revisit the container application and I'll just revisit that page. So we'll wait for the refresh. Okay. Meanwhile, during this time period, I'll attach the detail for that particular booking request one as well. So I'll add the detail page as well for that. So this contains right now it is a completely blank. I'll attach the API. So this API contains the $_ID key. So this is the metadata key. So as I want this page to be reusable for each row click, so I am going to replace this _ID with that row data, and runtime it will call that get by ID API. Okay. So I have just log out over there. I will log in here. Okay. So we are going to add the mapper for this as well. Okay. I'll click on the save and execute and save. Now these two pages has the different one. So how we are going to attach these to the navigation one? So this the third tab comes in the action. So the action tab which contain the configuration. So what action going to perform on that particular widget, like a row click, on click, like that. Then the which page you want to attach to that particular action, and what will be the mode of that particular action. It will be a page, drawer or dialog. Right now I want the drawer, so I'll select drawer and click on the save. I'll go back to that booking request page. Now you are able to see the configuration has been done within 4 or 5 minutes. So we are done with the configuration. You are able to see the data. Once I click on that particular row, you are okay. I'll check the which API I have attached. Okay. Booking request. I'll just check that API. Okay. As you can see, the pagination has been also been applied. Okay. If you want, you can search as well. So search is also working now. So we are done with that as well. I'll just revisit and show you the detail configuration. We have just added the detail page for that. I'll showcase you that as well. Now you are able to see the detail for that particular page. So once I click on this, Hadapsar and Shivaji Nagar will be shown inside this. So you are able to see the on each row field we are getting the different data. So we are done with that. But right now we are not able to add the booking request. So just we will add the form for that add a booking request field. So I will go to the forms. I will check the APIs for the form right now. Okay, now you are able to see the forms for the add booking request. So it contains the multiple select field. So each select field has the data or the API integration for that. So this is the API integration. I'll just add this employee API over here. I'll add the authentication and authorization part for that particular API. Okay. So this is the by default required for the any studio API if you want to call. It is authenticated and authorized. So you have to add the authentication and the extended ID for that. Then we have the mapper function. So you know that the this drawer contains the key value, pair value and label option. So you are going to convert this API response into the option label and option value. So I'll just click on the save and I'll add the same for the remaining one. So I'll just go back vehicle request. I'll select the data source and then inside the header I'll just add that. Okay. I'll add the bearer token over here and the extended ID. Okay. Okay, then the mapper one. Then we have the travel type as well. So I'll just check the travel type. I'll click on edit. Here we are not going to attach any API, so I'll add the static data inside the mapper itself. Okay. For the approval status as well, I'm going to add the static data for that as well. So I'll select. I'll add the static data over here. Then we have the allocated vehicle ID. Okay. So we are at the end select. We have the last select remaining. So I'll quickly add the API for that. So I'll add the authentication and authorization part for that. So I'll add the authentication. Then we have the bearer and the extended ID as well. So this database contains inside this tenant ID. That's why I'm pasting that inside this. So I'll add the mapper for that as well. Okay. I'll test that mapper and click on save. We are done with the API integration part for the drop down field, but right now we are going to add the API for post to that particular form data. So I'm able to add the title you want to configure. You can configure the snack bar, which will be get succeeded when you add that particular booking request. Then for that, I'm going to attach the endpoint as well. Okay. And here also we need to pass the authentication and authorization part as well. So now we are done with the API integration. I'll just click on the save. I'll take this form ID. I'll visit back the table for the booking request. I'll go to the mapper. I'll just configure this form ID over here. I'll click on the save and execute and save this particular combination. Okay, I'll just revisit that booking request page inside the container application. So we'll just wait to fetch the data. So once I click on this button, now we'll be able to see the forms. So forms integration has been done with the multiple API combination as well within 4 or 5 minutes. So I'll just showcase you the data. Okay, I'll add the configuration. I'll select the travel type request.
So within 2-3 minutes, the entire form has been designed. All the metadata are attached to the drop-down, and it is ready for adding a booking request.
Okay, now you are able to see our API call get succeeded and data has been added as well. Okay, so we are done with the add form integration as well, but right now we are not able to filter it out. So quickly we are going to add the filter form as well, which has been exported inside the Figma. I'll just add the dummy data or static data for this drop down. So this contain true drop down inside this filter form. So I'll add the travel type and then approval status. Okay. So I'm going to add the approval status. Okay, I'll test this mapper and click on the save. I'll take this form ID as well. I'll revisit that booking request table page, and inside the configuration I'll add this form ID for the filter as well. I'll click on the save. I'll go to the container and then I'll again revisit that particular booking request page. Okay, now we'll wait to fetch the data. As you are able to see, the filter form integration also been done, and once I click on this, total 31, now it is 70. So we are done with the filter
So
integration.
we can see nothing can stop the lightning speed of Motiram. Even the internet connection. So in less than 25 minutes, we have completed the entire booking request feature. So in that booking request feature, like we have created a UI to list down all the booking requests. We can search those booking requests, we can filter the booking requests, and even we can add the booking request with different metadata which are required for adding the booking request, right? So the entire feature is completely done in 20 minutes, apart from the 5 minutes which we spent or wasted. So now, for other features, most of the flows is same, like for driver management, for trip management, or for challenge management, or there are different other features like vehicle management. So what we'll do in the next 10-15 minutes, Atharva and Motiram will divide that task, and they will complete the entire feature in next 15 minutes. So we have still 18 minutes, and we can do it within 45 minutes, right? So that they will do. So meanwhile, like Shashwat, so while you were communicating with customer and while you committed that this like application can be delivered within a day, so do you have any questions in mind, like how we can deliver, or what questions customers might ask, or might they have in their mind?
So actually I have many. So firstly, I was wondering how was Motiram able to export the Figma pages so fast? Like what I would want some clarity over.
Yes, so I will start with the DSL maybe. So our design team has done a great job. Many of them might be there already. So they have done a standardization in the UI, right? So because if you want to fast track the UI development, we need to have a standardization. So in the DSL, we have done the lots of standardization, and that DSL is now compatible with the like one plugin which we built for the Figma. So there is a Figma plugin. That Figma plugin reads all the configurations from the Figma designs from the application, and those configurations are related to the how many components it has, what are the different types of components, what is the size and location of that component. So all that configuration can be fetched from the Figma plugin, and that can be exported to the application directly. So that's how it is possible.
The Figma plugin definitely sounds like a cool feature. So my next question is, does the IOCraft support micro frontends?
Yeah, so it is based on micro frontend architecture only. We have a micro frontend container which is a base in the application, and there are different micro frontends for, as you see, there is a page designer, there is a form designer, or there are different components. So this supports the micro frontend.
Right. And I'm sure the customer will come with additional requests for features. So does this support any modifications?
Yes, so for any developer or any application, we need to add some custom components, because whatever we are showing, it's not necessary that that will be required in that application, right? So most of the things which are standard like tables, cards, forms, those are readily available, but it is definitely extendable, and we can add any new component in the component library, and that component can be added as a page in the page as a page design.
And can we also share the source code with the customer?
Yes. So the source code is definitely available because it is built on completely custom development principles and micro front-end principles. So there is not a single monolith application. We have a different repositories and we can share that source code to the source code customer as well.
Okay. And let me think. I remember from the conversation with the customer, he wanted a platform that is future proof, future ready. So how does IOCraft's architecture ensure that this is the end outcome will be scalable and future ready?
Yeah, as I mentioned, it is micro front-end enabled, containerized, and it can be deployed on Kubernetes. It can be scalable and highly available. So it is future ready and it is based on latest React technology, which is highly in demand, and it supports all those standardizations and security compliance.
Okay. And one question that the developers might have in their mind is, do we have to use JSA Studio for this, or are there other ways also?
So if we use, like there is definitely we can directly use the source code for different page containers and UI components. Using Studio, it will be little faster, but it is definitely possible to customize the source code directly if you have those skills.
Okay. And do you have any plans for a, mobile front-end development version with the IOCraft?
Yeah, so we have already done a library for mobile and a page designer for a mobile, and there is one application which we already delivered to the customer. It's in production right now. The integration with Studio is pending. So the backend designers and components are already available. So that is in the roadmap. So we can see. We maybe will have another session how we can build mobile app in 45 minutes.
Oh, that would be great. And will the customer face any vendor lock-in issues because we are using IOCraft?
So it's not they need to use this studio as I mentioned, so they can build it on top of source code as well. So as we are giving a source code to them, it's not necessary that they need to stick to us.
Okay.
So maybe in next 10 minutes we'll see the entire application which is ready with all the features, like all the trip management and other features as well. So meanwhile, maybe we can take some questions.
Any questions from your side?
No question?
IOCraft is very powerful.
Sir, can I modify it out of this Nava and Agile?
Yes, so there are different templates available. So this will be one container template, and on this container template there is a menu on the left side, but we can create different templates where the menu might be on the right side or left side or at the top as well.
And this card is similar. Means I have seen 2 to 3 projects. Within that, that card are similar and that table is similar in every project. Can I modify that also?
Yeah, so we have a UI component library, so we can add lots of variations in the components as well, right? So there is right now 2 tables available, but if required, like everyone is welcome to contribute into the library and create more tables or more different components. So there is a component development guideline as well which will release. So you can follow that guideline and you can create the components and contribute to the library.
Then we how we secure the front end, then we add the REST APIs, then how we secure the app.
Secure on front end or you're saying API?
Backend side.
So backend is completely different. So backend, if whatever standard practices we follow for backend, those will be followed as per the standardization, right? So as he was showcasing, there is an authentication token and the token information which we are adding into the APIs, right? So those APIs are definitely secured already, and we need to pass the necessary information to our APIs.
This application regulation
Comply to different resolutions. Yes, so it has support to multiple resolutions. Yeah, he can show that. So even if we change the resolution, it will resize.
So responsiveness is definitely something we focus on.
It is the default demand for any customer. Anyone else?
In mapping function, is there any structure defined? Like, can we use life cycle methods there?
Yes, so here, yeah, so maybe you can elaborate on life cycle method. What exactly?
Like our React method, life cycle.
Yeah, so definitely. So here, right now it is only a plain JavaScript which we need to write. The mapper function doesn't have any complexity of React or anything because it is completely abstracted in the container, page designer and all. Those mapper functions can be written in JavaScript, or even right now we are working on Python or Go. So there will be a WASM executor on the front-end side, and we can execute the Python in our WASM. So it will increase the performance. So these are plain JavaScript. I don't know.
Yes, already prepared the mapper function for each tab, widget, and table or everything. So how can we just justify that? He has already prepared that mapper function.
I was expecting that question from someone. So those, as I mentioned, those mapper functions are plain JavaScript. We don't require any React skill. That's why we can say we have built the entire front end in 45 minutes, but that JavaScript is done in only a couple of hours, because those JavaScripts are also reusable because the front end components are same, right? The structure which is required into that table is same. So for all the table, the script which transforms the backend JSON or the data to the table required data is same. We just need to reuse that.
But we use different mapper function for each table or each widget. So we have to rebuild the mapper function for each widget. Am I talking?
Yes. If the JSON which we are getting from the API is different and it is not compatible to the component which we are attaching to, then we need to have a transformation. And there is a low-code interface.
I'll explain that little bit more. So as you mentioned, you are going to add a different mapper for the each table. So this mapper structure will be the same. You have to just configure that API key. So you know that the key what will be the coming from the API. So you have to just replace that key. All the structure will be same as we have configured in the each table. So you may have the multiple APIs for the each table. You may have the different keys for that, but mapper will be the same. You have to just change the keys according to your API, so it will configure. So it is reusable as well. So mapper also you can reuse that as well. So we have configured the structure for the mapper. I am going to show after that. I am going to publish the documentation for that as well. So how you can build it application inside the JSON Studio. So you can refer it from there as well.
Sir, there is a login screen and registration screen. There is a flow is like username, email, password and password. So suppose there is a one user customer come and they ask about I don't want this, I want only mobile number verification. can I customize in that way?
Yes, so we have already done that for a couple of projects where we have done OTP based authentication. That you all right? Mobile based login.
But we have used a key lock.
That is possible in Keycloak. We have done that. So if required in any project, definitely you can come.
As we have seen, the Figma has been done a vital role here. But is it dynamic or static? What are the steps and procedures we have to follow while designing the Figma?
So that, as I mentioned, in the DSL we have built. The design team has done that DSL 2.0. In that DSL 2.0, we have standardized those configurations, right? Whatever should, in order to pull the data from Figma, it should be compatible with the Figma plugin, right? So they have those standardizations and they are following that while we want to build application through this mode.
As we first saw, we have imported the Figma and all these widgets are shown as per the Figma. So when we complete this page and then if we want to add another widget which is not of this all kinds, then can we add it?
Yeah, we can again export that from Figma. So it will just update the existing page.
So again we have to add all these data for all these widgets.
No, it will persist, whatever configuration is done, it will persist. Only the new widget you need to configure. Anyone else?
There is one project outer GPT. They built one Figma. So in Figma they can show the 2D images. Like suppose there are different 8 images and you have to show that images using Canva. So they can build they can't build the design for them, like design team. So just developer want to do that. So we can't do using that design. So how can you build using this?
So it is not required to use a Figma and Figma plugin here. As we have a page designer, you can just drag drop the content components which are available. That is also one way. Another way, you can write a JSON manually. Right? So if you write that JSON, you mention what are the components we want in that page. That JSON also you can upload.
Audio player for that. Audio player.
Audio player component we need to add. That component is not there right now, but we can add.
Right now we have the video player option, so you can showcase the video and the preview for that as well. And you can manage the configuration inside the JSA Studio. And currently one of the project is live, which is the Career Gatta. So students are attending the session over there. Also they are chatting on that particular platform as well. So yeah, configure that as well. In future we are going to configure that audio as well.
Anyone?
So I'll speak for the design team here. So while we are designing all this stuff, so we take say roughly 2-3 days for this. Another one day goes when we want to modify the naming convention for all this stuff, right? So how can we reduce that workload on the design team, because we have to do double work in this.
Yeah, so in order, we don't want to do a double work, we need to have a standardization document, right? So that we need to create. So
Your question should be, can you add a feature into the Figma plugin?
So there is, I discussed that with a couple of team members, Sonali and I think Prarthana, that there is a variable feature coming in the Figma, right? So we need to have support to those variables. So instead of manually doing those configurations, we can pick it dynamically from the variable feature. So that is possible. We need to, that is our next action item, roadmap. Any question? More?
Can you explain explain high level architecture, what exactly is going behind this and what will be the outcome? Because most of the developer knows what they deliver when it comes to front-end course. When you are saying that there is no binding to the studio, then what is delivered from this and are there any limitations?
Yes, so as a micro front-end architecture, there is a micro front-end container. You might be knowing all. So who works on front-end? There is a micro front-end container, right? So in that container, there are different micro front-ends which we design for different pages. So here, what we have done, instead of creating multiple micro front-ends for multiple pages, we have created a single micro front-end which can act or which can take the configuration for different pages, and that single micro front-end will work for multiple designs. We don't need to create multiple micro front-ends. Right? So there is a container app, there is a micro front-end app which is the page renderer, because we are taking the page configurations and we are rendering that page in that micro front-end. Right? That is, and another is the form renderer where we are rendering the forms. So the form as well can be configured from the JSON, pages can be configured from the JSON, and all those micro front-ends are clubbed together in the container, as we usually do in all the applications. Only difference here is we need to, in the custom way, we need to build multiple micro front-ends. If there are 10 screens, we need to build 10 different micro front-ends. And we need to have a custom development for each micro front-end. Right? Here we only have one micro front-end. We just need to have a configuration. And it will behave like 10 different micro front-ends.
What is getting delivered?
The question was about getting delivered the source code of container, page renderer, and the form renderer. So these three repositories are there, and like we can replicate that for different pages as we have in our application. So there might be a trip micro frontend, vehicle micro frontend, or booking request micro frontend. So these can be different micro frontends, but the exact source code is same. We just need to configure different pages into that source code.
Once the code is delivered, okay, we have incremental modify the code. If I don't have a studio with me, how I will modify?
So it is as normal front-end code. So there is a React component library. If you want to add a new component, you can add that component into that component library. It is the same standard library which we have in all the projects. It doesn't have any difference in the library.
I am not bound to the studio.
There is no need.
I can do the edits from studio also.
Yes, yes. So we can just walk through all the features and all the screens which we have built. So it has a dashboard which loads all the reports about rides, trips, or different vehicles and drivers. So the admin who is managing all these cab booking requests or the vehicle management, they can use this dashboard. And go to the next. So they can see all the trips which are already done, like their source, their destination, and their location, and the time, pickup time and drop time. So there are detailed pages as well here. Like we can add a trip, we can see the details of the trip. So we will not go through all those pages. As we have already seen for booking request, go to the next. So we can see all these pages are already ready in 45 minutes or less, because we have wasted some time in between. So we can see the documents attached as well, like driver, Aadhaar card, and all those documents. So we can see all the vehicles in the system. We can even see vehicle details. The default features of search, filter, download, adding a vehicle, all those are there for this feature as well. So all the complaints which are being generated from the employees, they can all see here the different complaints which are registered. And it has also one feature about challenge database, like any from RTO, any cab or vehicle got some penalty, then that information is also recorded here. Okay, so that completes the entire application, which has been committed by I, and he is going to deliver it in one day now.
The customer would definitely be very happy. So as we have seen that without IOCraft, this front-end implementation was going to take 18 to 26 days, but using IOCraft, we have implemented the front-end within 45 minutes. And I have like 8 or 9 hours left, so I'll just pass it to the QA team and get it delivered as soon as possible.
So, what's in for you, as I already mentioned while answering some of the questions, you can contribute to the platform. Like there is lots of component building, backlog is there. You can also contribute into different templates, as you mentioned, container templates and all. And another thing is, you can also start using it for delivering the projects. So if you have any questions, as of now, you can ask, or you can come to any one of us later. So you might be thinking how we have built. I have answered some of these things while answering. So we have a Figma plugin, we have a form builder which can directly render form from the configurations. There is a component library, page designer is there. It is compatible to DSL. It has a built-in RBAC, like if you want to restrict some of the components, some of the pages to some of the roles, that is also possible. Then page navigation is easily configured in first 1 minute itself. We can see all the pages. Then mapper functions support is there. You can customize the functionality of different components. And the data layer is completely separated, configurable, and it is micro frontend. That this we already talked. Go to contribution. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
So, like, as a designer, I know how to do the standardization of Figma, and also I know that how to use the JSON, and I have built a template from that. After that, like, but I don't have a knowledge of, I have zero knowledge of the coding. After building the application, how will I know the, like, what is the maturity of that particular platform? I have done the, like, all the step I have done the internalized table, like what is the maturity? How can I know that?
Yeah, first I think the functionality which needs to be working, right? So you can go to the preview and you can see if everything, whatever you have configured is working or not, as per the Figma which you have designed, right? So that we can check that. So if everything is ready and like usable, right? So apart from that, the maturity, if you are asking about architecture, about other aspects, or you are asking about design?
Yeah, asking about the, like, coding and all the stuff, like, I don't know what come after that, but like, if it's the codes in the right manner or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, so about the platform maturity, there are different aspects, like there is a security, like there is a maintainability, or there is like it should be scalable, highly available, right? So it is micro frontend enabled. It can be deployed on containers, so it is scalable and highly available. It is maintainable because it has very less code. As I mentioned, there is only single source code and which can be used for all the different pages. So we can maintain it easily once we understand it, right? So it is maintainable. On security front, like we have applied all the standards. We are also going to do. We have done the sonar scans and all, but we also do the VAPT in future, like vulnerability testing. So we can get the confidence about the VAPT as well. Has it answered, or you have anything
I will
else?
extend the question. The question is, how do you make sure that what you get in the Figma and what you get in the front end, design-wise also, the entire design piece of is up to the mark? How do we quantify it? Because end of the day, customer questions, what I see is what I get. They question, you put an SI, it's not here. Of this pixel, I see it started killing it. That's the question customer understand first. Visual is something they understand first. So,
Yeah, so in that front, I would say there is an advantage here, more advantage than the custom development. Because in custom, we need to manually verify with Figma. There is no way to verify that. Right? We need to first build and we need to check the Figma and manually check whether it is looking same. Right? But here we have advantage of Figma plugin where we can make sure that whatever properties or configurations we are pulling from the Figma are being applied correctly. And the Figma plugin is going to make sure that it is not missing anything in that level itself. Okay. So I think Saket is there, right? So I just discussed with Saket as well. We are going to build automation tool as well on top of this. So as we have seen lots of similar pages and all, right? There can be an automation on top of it which will directly automate and check all the pages and go through all the clicks, widgets, and check whether everything is working. QA automation.
Any plan to use generative AI?
Yes. So as we are seeing, the Motiram was just doing some mundane tasks, right? He was copying some URLs, he was adding some URLs, he was doing some clicks here and there. We don't need to do that, right? If we just say, I want a page where I want to see all the vehicles in the table. At top, I want to see 4 cards, where the first card should show total vehicles, like in whatever in service vehicles or different types of vehicles. It will generate the JSON and show the page. So while creating the project or pages itself, we can just talk, and it should create it automatically. And that is right now very easy because we have solved the hard problem. It's in the roadmap. Okay, so from online, Lakshmi Narayan is asking, can we deploy to a specific domain according to the customer requirement? So it's a generic platform. I'm not sure I got your question correctly, but it's a generic platform. We can build any domain application on top of it. So it doesn't have right now domain-specific reusable assets, but we can build those domain-specific assets as well if required. Like for example, if in telecom we require the alarm-related KPI dashboards, so we can keep those ready. So it will be a domain-specific components. Lakshmi Ryan, if I have answered you well, or you can ask.
So, Lakshmi Narayan, are you referring to domain as in the website or the business domains? Because if you are asking about deploying into a website, that can be done, and that we have done in the last project.
Anyone else has question here? Who wants to contribute?
Everyone.
Raise the hand. Only one?
We will tell you how you can contribute.
Or who want to use? There are more users, I guess. Okay. Rest maybe will add you in some backlog, even if you haven't raised that. Yes.
So moving away from questions, if you have any feedbacks for us, that would be very valuable. Even to the point you can roast us, because roast is the best form of feedback. Okay. And I would love to talk about IOCraft and anything related to the JESA project. So if you have any doubts, any suggestions, anything, you can ping me or Mayur or anyone from the platform. So do you have any feedbacks for us?
Okay, so feedback is one, which is when we go for automation, when we go for fast accelerated development, what we end up sacrificing is creativity. That's the challenge usually. Okay, and design team should think about this before. Like once we build a BLDSL, then we have to follow that structure and give it in the development team. And development team also have to follow the same structure. So both the teams are limited with the framework. You cannot experiment beyond that. Maybe that's a thinking maybe we should think.
So there, I think we had a discussion with design team. So I observed that was a problem. So here there is we can build more and more components, right? We can add our creativity in building more components, like different kind of pages, different kind of container layouts. So it's not that we are stopping that, but we need to use it in some area. And here, if customer wants the application in one day, and he doesn't care about whether it is looking like this or that, so it's good to solve his problem first, right? In day.
And maybe there is also a limitation from the front end development. Someone like Akshay, someone can actually think through limitations क्या हो गया इसका.
Harshal is actually reviewing the code. So he needs to answer himself. Yeah, but you can ask if you want.
There is one question. For example, like some clients want specific security reason. For example, MSL, which we cannot directly integrate in the particular JSA library currently. But in that top-up, we have to think about that, like how we can integrate multiple security libraries for that. Like MSL. MSL, we don't give direct access to any application. They have used their own UIs for that. First, we have to authenticate our user from their plugin, and then we have to use our UI. So these type of scalability we have to achieve. Moreover.
So yeah, so I think I would say we have our own MSL. So as I mentioned, RBAC is there, right? So RBAC is already having a UI at the backend, and it is there. You can configure all the widgets, and you can specify in the backend itself that this widget should be allowed to this role, and in the UI it will get reflected.
Yeah, but it's like customer specification. Like
So in that case, yeah, there will be two types of customer. One, they want it on their way, on their own way, right? There we don't have any option. We need to build it as per his expectation. If he is more technical and he has already stack in his other application and he want to go with that same stack, then we need to follow that. But there are some customers who want it like in any technology, but they want this problem to be solved, right? So there we can definitely have this kind of approach.
The answer to this may be for some modules, some layers, you may want to go for custom, purely custom. You will not use this software. But for other areas, which is very clear, implementation will go for this.
Yeah, but here there are different reusable libraries as well. So it's not that there is a yes and no answer directly. So there will be a lot of things which you can still use. There will be components. There will be if you want to use form builder, you can use form builder separately. You can use page separately, right? You can use just a Figma plugin separately. So it's not because it's a micro frontend modular. You can use any module, any component you can pick. So everywhere it will be used. Even the percentage might differ from 10 to 100.
So there was a use case, so we were working in African. So they had a DSL in the first half, say 6 months. After 6 months, they changed the DSL. And the component designers have to sit down and recreate every screen and then give it back to the development team. So can that be somewhere modified, or can that be implemented in JSA, or we can have a switchable DSL inside the system?
Yes, so there is one screen already in Studio where we can upload the DSL. So already we have converted the DSL in the JSON format, configuration format. We can upload a DSL and all the theme, fonts, right now it supports themes, fonts and colors, but it will support components and pages as well. But we can upload that DSL and the look and feel will change completely. Because the DSL is...
Point was around that part of it, that we are currently supporting colors and fonts and all. But apart from that, like the radius of the components, or say the spacing of the components and all, can that also be?
Yeah, so that we need to do with variables, Figma variables. It's our backlog. We need to work together. Okay, anything else?
While building this app, so don't take it off. Suppose we build the application and we have delivered it to the customer, that's fine. But we are sacrificing developer satisfaction. We are not. We have not written a single line of code except the normal function while building that application. So how can we gain that?
Sorry. You are already a contributor, why are you asking? Definitely that question might be there. That question will be there. That's why we are saying you are a part of team as well. You can contribute. You can add lots of other things. And it's not that all the things, all the projects will be through this. There will be other projects as well.
But the question is valid when you think deep for next 5-10 years, you will have layers of automation coming up. So abstraction
Is going to be there. So if you are not doing it now, after 5 years, the software engineers will be using some low-code platform only. They will not do any coding. Right?
No, don't call it not doing coding, it's abstraction.
So right now,
as you always do coding at a high level.
Yes, as we have started with assembly, right?
Yes.
Everyone was doing assembly language coding. Then it shifted to C, right? Then it shifted to Java. But the C developers might also be thinking this way, that now the C is dying and we don't have anything creative, right? But the developers changed, they picked up Java.
We need a lot of code in C. Memory functions नहीं है, memory management नहीं है, तो क्या करेगा? We have a same question.
So it's the same.
Management पता भी नहीं है.
Or you don't have to worry.
So it's already abstraction is being done since ages. And there will be more abstraction now with AI and other low-code platforms. It's going to happen.
That brings to the point is if you are able to holistically think about a solution, you can map a lot of other areas. If you can build a solution in your mind, then all these tools and tech and art, that's just a weapon for you, weapon of choice. You need to understand this. This is where the market industry is going to move. You have to visualize the problem of customer and visualize the entire solution. So architecture question, Dinesh asked architecture question. There was some design question. Can I think end to end, right from requirement to design to front end to back end, APIs to back end to databases, and anyone's infra? I'll come back again. That's the power we have to build. Every one of us. You should also be able to ask the question of the design team. If you can think that today or start building it, all of us will have future. Whether this tool, any other tool, or scratch development, every one of us will have future. You should be able to think solution. Right?
Yes. I think there are some good questions. I want more.
Is there a gift for good question? HR team. It's presenting.
So there in the market there are a lot of application. We just give a prompt and they build the entire application. So what is the difference between the JSON and that particular application?
Any example you have in mind?
I have one in name.
There are actually 3-4 platforms.
So we know it I have to so on a daily basis we say we see standards are changing, standards in color, content. So if we have defined one library, let's say for e-commerce, and now we have checked for the so it will change in e-commerce we have a lot of white space, white red color, but in telecom we have very like 0 pixel accuracy for padding and spacing. So if we have defined library for e-commerce and now we have this telecom project to work on, so do we need to build custom components for that?
So if it is only color and theme and spacing which you are talking about, then yeah, so there will be lots of components which are already ready, because right now as well there are hundreds of components which are there in the component library. So you might be using many of those, but if there are some new components required, then some development will require and creative people will get work.
Yes. So there is the application Galileo.ai. I just give a prompt to create an application. Like I asked you to create a like what will be the daily routine for the dog. Like what is the cycle and give me the create some application based on that particular prompt. So he will create an application just by using that particular prompt. So like what is the difference between JSON and that particular platform?
So
Just a minute. Interesting question. When she mentioned about Galileo platform, so Sonali said he. Okay, guys, this is another level of thinking you need to think. So it's an algorithm, AI. Okay, but we have already, our consciousness has already moved that we have started calling algorithms and bot as human beings, he and she. Okay, and there is going to be a different work out there, more work. Okay, coming back to the question.
yeah, so what I have seen, there are lots of applications which claim that they can create the application or code from Figma or the design, maybe on different platforms. They can just create application, like they can create a code which is in CSS, HTML and a plain JavaScript, which is just at the when we see it at first, we can see the entire screens are created, but when we want to attach a data, when we want to integrate APIs, we need to do a lot of work, right? So that, I think that is the difference here. We are not creating a source code. We are just configuring the application for that page. Okay, and it is compatible to attaching a data as well, because in a minutes we can attach the data and we can see all the data. So that, I think that is a difference. So look and feel wise, it shows that it has created a code, but to extend that code and take it to production again takes a lot of time.
So 4-5 years back, we tried like drawing some UI and then converting it back to the code, the front-end code, right? So that also Blackbox is also providing right now, Blackbox AI. So are we also trying to do going to do that here also?
No, we are not generating a code, as I mentioned. So we are having a reusable code already built, which is already tested and for all the standards and which is mature. We are just configuring that source code for different applications.
Right. No. Like my question is perspective of like what we are designing in Figma, right? And we are creating that design. Instead of that, like if we just draw the UI directly on paper and then it directly.
No, that is not in the roadmap.
Okay.
then design team will say, yeah, there is no work.
So set the context, what he was saying, Sunny, is 4-5 years back, we had done an experiment. I don't know the name of that experiment. It was called iauro codeless. Okay. So in that, if you draw a image, a view, let's say there's a whiteboard and you are drawing a screen of a mobile app to book tickets, let's say movie tickets. So you draw by hand and you draw some sales table view and some clickable buttons and something, and then you also draw the next sequence of 4-5 screens. We used to pick that as an image. It was an image processing problem as well. So we pick that image and we used to convert it into what, guys, you need to tell me. Is that the front-end code? So direct front-end code. Okay, that is an experiment we had done, and then
Apple ka design tool.
yes.
Apple's design tool was we were using that.
So that was the context what Sunny was mentioning.
I think I answered, right?
Sketch was the platform. Okay, Sunny, continue. Question है? और question है? और कुछ question? Anybody has questions, please shoot them.
One question. So, if we quantify it, I mean, now we see that 176 hours we are converting to 1 hour of 45 minutes. So, there might be multiple Figma screens, probably 50 Figma screens or something like that. So, if we want to put it in one bullet point that IOCraft solves the or reduces the time by how many %? Is there any quantifiable number you have reached to till
Yes.
now? That is one question. And another one is, do you see as the entire owner of the product any downside in the entire application which you might want to improve on this in IOCraft currently?
Yes. So, for the first question, the numbers we have shown. So, the 776 is reduced to 45. Even if we say will require some more time in order to test and all, we can definitely do it within a day. Right? That level of maturity is achieved. But the prerequisites needs to be done. Right? As here also we have mentioned, the requirement is frozen, designs are frozen. Right? The Figma is available. Backend is also done, because backend we have not shown in this right now for the session. Backend development acceleration is different. That will do another session. So everything is ready. Maybe that time will take 1 week or 2 weeks based on the size and complexity of the requirement. But once that everything is ready, definitely we can reduce it by 70-80%, I would say, as of now. And another.
We will answer it two ways. One is end-to-end solution delivery, is one point. Front-end development is another point.
Yeah.
This is front-end acceleration.
So for any software development lifecycle, we first have a requirement discussion, right? Requirement gathering, then we do the like design thinking, UI UX development, then we plan for the actual implementation or the coding development, right? Then there is a QA, UAT and deployment. So in this whole cycle, maximum time will get reduced and in development. Requirement will take its own time based on how complex it is and how clear it is in customer's mind as well. So we face that as well, that issue as well many times, that customer is not clear and he reveals many things later once we start discussing. So that time it will take its own time. There we are not doing anything as of now. Then there is a design thinking or the UI UX work. There we already have an accelerator of a DSL. That time also is being reduced a lot. And once we have that TSL 3.0, it will again reduce a lot. Right? So there will be some reduction in design. Then implementation, backend is also accelerated and frontend is also accelerated. So we will see a lot of reduction in that area. Then functional testing, as of now there is no reduction. We'll have to build the automation for QA, and then we can reduce that as well. But some reduction definitely will happen because there is already tested components, already tested source code, so obvious issues will not come. Only feature related, business related requirement issues only will come if those are configuration miss. Right? So the middle part is going to reduce a lot. So that means I think as an organization also we are focusing to be more customer focused. So more energy is going to be spent on that first area. Requirement, giving the customer experience, requirement gathering, design thinking, UI UX, and then development will start.
So why my question comes is one, I think one of our projects is still only signed as in UI UX development project, right? If you want to take it to another level, probably front end, back end development. So we might give them some inputs that your time will be probably reduced by these many hours of this percentage, and then we can shift it to application development.
Yes, yes. So we can, I think we are already doing that. So once we get the requirement, we understand that this can be built through this platform. And this customer will also agree to that.